Hello again, everyone. My name's Estelle Gillingham, forensic healer at Healing Waters Sanctuary in Glastonbury, and once again I'm with Juliet Yelverton, the founder of the Sanctuary, and we're going to talk today in our series about the upcoming trauma resolution a little bit about something that is called resourcing. So Juliet, would you like to explain the concept of resourcing, please?
Yes, so for the trauma training for therapists, I want to really help therapists learn how to help their clients resource, but also how to resource themselves. And we talked previously about safety and about how safety is a cornerstone for healing trauma. Well, resourcing is a means of accessing safety. So if you're working with clients, it's all very well for them to come into your session and to be able to sit down, and you can create a sense of safety in the session. But what are they going to do when they leave? How are they going to get from one session to the next? And how are they going to do their own work? Because unless a client can really do the work themselves, coming to any number of sessions is not terribly helpful, because it's about them. You know, each person has the ability to heal within themselves. So a resource is the means of setting up a sense of safety yourself through accessing things that feed back through your five senses to give you a sense of well-being. So a primary resource is if you can access a sense of comfort in your body.
Right.
So I encourage people to learn how somatically to access that, how to feel in their body. Where is there a sense of well-being? Where is there a sense of self-connection and spaciousness? For many people, if they're very traumatized, that's really, really hard. And particularly if there has been abuse, then access to the body is really, really difficult, because if you have a lot of distress, you don't even want to be in touch with your body. Yeah. So it's the first step is to create a resource which is outside of yourself. It's like, is there something that you used to do? Is there a place that you like to go to? Is there a special experience that you like that gives you a sense of well-being? Even if it's only for a few minutes a day. So it's about daily building into your life a resource or a number of resources. It's something that will help you feel relaxed, comfortable, take your mind off cycling thoughts, help bring down the stress levels. So it can be an activity in nature. It can also be, for instance, if you can't get out and about, or you feel claustrophobic or any of those things, it can be remembering something. If you can bring it up in your imagination, something that actually helped you before, a place that you like to go to, and really imagine it, because for the brain, that imagination is as real as if you're actually going to that event.
That's right, because all the mirror neurons get involved and trigger the sensations, and as we were saying in an earlier video, it's very much about having that physical experience, isn't it?
Yes, that's right.
Physical as in through the senses.
Yes, so it's somatic, it's what can trigger the somatic senses. Now, interestingly enough, another resource may be lighting a cigarette or having a drink. That's what people automatically go to try and resource. It's an unconscious attempt at resourcing, and it's in this way that addiction is built. So I'm not recommending that at all, because it's actually really harmful to do any of those things for many reasons. But if you already have a pattern of doing that, don't beat yourself up, because first of all, it is doing something, and that you're going to move on in the healing process. It's important to then move on from that and to let that go as a potential resource.
So tell me a little more how resourcing fits into the overall picture of trauma resolution, please.
Well, in order to heal trauma, you have to create a felt sense within the body of wellness.
Yeah.
Whether you believe you're well or not, you have to create a felt sense. So when you start to resource, you are actually doing things that actually bring more health and well-being into your life.
Yeah.
So by taking walks, or resourcing through eating good food, or resourcing through any kind of thing like yoga, for instance, it's bringing more movement and flexibility into your body. It's freeing up energies, freeing up emotions. So resourcing is taking the steps that you need to take in order to build health.
And this could also be the factual trauma resolution grounds for what a lot of people say in healing communities about it being good and sensible to be very careful about who you spend time with. Is there a social aspect to resourcing as well?
Well, yes, because one of the things that can happen when we get traumatized, that our social nervous system can be traumatized.
Yeah.
And the social nervous system is the part of it, it's understood as part of the nervous system that is involved in orientating ourselves when we're under stress. So just as an animal goes onto active alert, a human being will do a similar thing, in that when there's the first threat of danger, that we begin to check out by moving our head, our eyes and so on, and even making active communication as to what's actually going on, what's the threat. And if we've had that really well modelled with good caregiving as a very young child, because that's when the social nervous system is developed, then we're much better able to orientate ourselves as adults when we're under threat. So if we were resourced as a very young child and really had a very loving, caring environment, then we're much more able to cope with danger and much more able to orientate ourselves in times of threat. And if we weren't very resourced, then we may be very vulnerable to making bad connections and bad relationships with people, or to people who are potentially dangerous. That's why it's important not to beat yourself up if you've been abused, you've been attacked, raped, that I should have known better if only I hadn't done that. Because if in the first place your social nervous system was damaged and you weren't able to properly you weren't resourced and you weren't being able to develop the orientating response properly, then you're totally at sea when it comes to trying to understand these messages of somebody that's coming towards you with an intention of harm, but you can't read the signals because you never had that template in the beginning.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the implications and the importance of an understanding of resourcing for therapists are enormous.
Absolutely. So the therapist's primary job, alongside creating safety, is continually checking how resourced their client is, to be able to actively assess the level of resource that the client has, whether or not the client is able to tell you that. Yeah,
absolutely.
to really be able to watch and feel the degree of resource. And if the client is under resourced, then it's the therapist's job to do whatever is necessary to resource the client.
And then teach them how to do that.
Teach them how to do it, and you need to be able to know what resources to give the client. You need to be able to track how can I resource this client, what is going to be useful to this person, because one resource for one person is not necessarily going to be so for another person. And it may be that you can suggest something which is a resource, but it may actually have a trigger with it which actually activates more trauma. So
a huge skill area.
A huge skill area,
and
yes.
Once again, Juliet, I begin speaking to you about something, and then a whole world of information and expertise becomes apparent. And once again, I'm going to say it, I'm really, really looking forward to you sharing this expertise and these skills and this information with more and more people. So
well, it's a wonderful opportunity for me, and I'm so grateful, because I am so deeply troubled, and I've just had enough of witnessing everything that's happening on the planet, and it's not necessary.
yeah,
It's like we can become conscious of how to heal this.
yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful. So thank you once again, and thank you for tuning in and listening, and we will be giving more details of when this really essential training is becoming available. It starts this autumn in England, and then we're going to produce an online programme as well for those of you who can't be in this country at that time. So please do keep tuning in, more information is coming. Thanks again, Juliet.